So last time we were talking about how getting to the root of an illness, getting to what's behind the physical symptoms, can really help us in terms of living well and whole, and not just getting a quick fix that pops back again later. And today I wanted to talk about how we can think about our lives and our stories in a way that can help us do that more. So one of the things I often will ask patients to do is to think about their life story, and a helpful way to do that is to draw a line on a piece of paper. In the middle of the piece of paper, and above the line you put things that have been positive in your life, and below the line you put things that are negative. And it's like a timeline of your life. So you go back in your thinking as far as you can, maybe right back to infant school, and you think about the things that happened there, things that influenced you, people that influenced you, things that were said. And then to junior school, and into senior school or high school in the US, into teenage years, thinking about what happened at school, what happened in your family, what happened in friendships, relationships, what was happening in the world around you at that time, and how it impacted you, particularly how it made you feel and how it made you think. So it may be that you start to notice that there have been patterns where you've been rejected by people, or people have let you down, or there have been patterns of trauma or illness in families, or things that were said to you that were really hurtful that you still remember even now as an adult. And that actually those things, when you start to notice them and remember them now, you still get a feeling in your gut that they matter, and that you've maybe not fully resolved them. And at the same time, you can start to notice when physical symptoms started. So it may be that you noticed that when your parents divorced, that's when your eczema started. Or when you were at school and you were bullied, that's when you started to get bloating and gut symptoms. And that now it's when you're in similar situations that those things almost pop up in your subconscious, and you remember, and you get those same symptoms again. So by doing that timeline of our lives, it can help us identify some of the key things to start to look at when we're wanting to consider wholeness and getting to the roots of things. The other thing that's really helpful to do is to think about your family story, family history. So thinking about what was life like for your parents and your grandparents and your great grandparents, if you can find out about them. And some families have family trees, don't they, that they've looked into, and you start to see these patterns of things. So it may be that there's patterns of being anxious, or patterns of behaving in a certain way, or patterns of addiction, or patterns of physical illnesses in families. And one of the things I love doing is looking at those stories, those family histories, because I think they can give us a lot of insight into why we're like we are, and why we respond how we do, and why we struggle with the things that we do personally. So by finding out about your family, you might start to notice, do you know, my gran was always really anxious, and my mum was really anxious, and I've almost learned that that's how I respond to situations, because that's how they responded to them. So I've almost copied their behaviour. I've done the same as they did. Or it may be that you start to notice that there are lots of patterns of addiction, or whatever it is, and that's something that can help you as you start to address your own things. It can help you to bring those things into the equation. Thinking about spiritual stuff as well. What spiritual experiences have you had through your life? What about in your family? Because they impact more than maybe you even think. And being aware of religious stuff, and just faith stuff and culture things that can have an impact on how you think and how you see the world around you and how you see yourself. And starting to think about, do you know, those things that I've believed and those things that I thought have just taken for granted, are they really true? Is that really how it is? And dare to challenge some of the thinking that you've had and some of the ways that you've seen things. Now, it may be that you need some help to do that, and there is help out there. So maybe start with a good friend, someone just to talk things through with, who you trust, and show them your story. Telling our stories is really powerful, just actually speaking it out, and having someone listen to you. Or it may be that it's helpful to look online and see what help's available in your area in terms of talking therapies or CBT, cognitive behaviour therapy, or counselling, or speak to someone, a health professional, if that's the main contact that you've got, and they'll be able to signpost you to somebody. But start to do it. Dare to look behind. Start to think about your story, and start to look at how it might be impacting the things that you're struggling with at the moment.